My name is Tideolu Adekobe. I am an author and an educational consultant, and I've been teaching and being in various administrative positions for over 3 decades. And I am so passionate about the African child, and especially Nigerian child. At a particular time like this, that the whole world is experiencing, an unprecedented situation. It happened unexpectedly, and a lot of things went, out of proportion. But for school, there must be plans. So plans was set in motion for children to still continuously be engaged, remotely. But then we still have issues, that we have some set of children that have no opportunity of accessing learning at a time like this because of the economic status that their parents belong, which by default they are also in. Does it not mean that these students don't have right to be educated? They do. They have right to be educated, and that is the more reason why parents must take the destiny of their children's life in their hands. They should not just wait for the government to do all that has to be done. They also must move, because I see the African child, and especially the Nigerian child, taking a leap and actually triumphing over this situation, and taking opportunities of what is presented before the Nigerian child. So what should parents be doing? Yes, I can't afford data, I don't have the device. Does it now mean that this child should not be educated? No, this child have the right to be educated even at a time like this. So what should parents do? The parents must ensure that they collaborate with people in the neighborhood. There are other people in the neighborhood that have access to some of these materials. Parents could take that step to ask for old materials, old textbooks, even discuss with these people in the neighborhood, because I know in every environment there are different classes, different economic classes. You have the upper, the middle, and the low. So there must be somebody that this parent can relate with and ask one or two questions. And this parent also have access to the child's teacher, can make call to the teacher and ask some basic questions about some things. And also the parent can actually take up the job of a teacher and teach. The teacher can begin to teach with folk tales, songs, and even taking the child through the normal chores at home, working in the kitchen, doing stuff, and also encouraging the child to even learn skill. There are a lot of skill that the child could learn even at a time like this, even from basic things, some stitching, hair making, a lot of things. And then playing games. Parents should engage the children in games. There is IU, there is Ludo, there is draft. There are lots of them, that these children can engage. And as they get engaged in all of this, it is awakening their mind, and it's also exposing them, opening them up for opportunities to learn. And so parents shouldn't begin to fear, because I'm poor, you cannot go to school, so no, you cannot. It's not so. Even with that simplest palasa phone that the parents have, they can make calls. Text messages can come in. They can receive text messages. They can get information, from friends, the child's classmates, from the teachers, and they can begin to make use of this even for learning. They can begin to see how well they use what is at their disposal, rightly. Even they check the house for old textbooks. As a matter of fact, even reading, look around for old newspaper. Old newspaper can do a lot of magic. Let this child begin to read. As a matter of fact, even the Bible or Quran, can be a bailout. This child can begin to read this Bible, can begin to read. So what? And as the child reads, reading is reading. Your ability to read sentences is reading. So by the time a child can read, there is no way that child, when faced with any academic materials or any textbook or note, that child will not be able to read. So the parents should take their destiny in their hand. They must be intentional. Parents must know that this is my future. As a matter of fact, my child must be better than I am. My child to move away from this level. And I say also, some of our parents are so rich enough to even do Ashoebi with their friends. So if you can afford Ashoebi, why don't you just add a little money to that money and buy even the cheapest Android phone? And make it available for your child. and not just giving the phone to the child alone. You also must be available, must be there. Parents must make themselves, available, must ensure that the child is actually learning and they are following through what the child is doing. It's not just giving the child the phone and just leaving the child to do what the child had to do all by him or herself. So must collaborate with people in the neighborhood to get material for the child, call the child's teacher to ask for questions, engage the child in folk tales, stories, tell stories, tell them tales of the things that have happened. There's a lot of story. We learn so much about folk tales when we were growing up, and such things we see hold them so much more. We have a lot of moral values. Then this is happening, and a lot of things that have to do with the basics of the English and maths that we do, science. When we cook at home and we mix ingredients to cook, it is science. It is like you are conducting or you are performing experiment. So when parents cook at home, they are also exposing their child to the process of cooking, process of washing, process of ironing, a lot of stuff like that. As a matter of fact, even getting outside their room and coming to the playground, in front of the house, and doing some little bit of activities there, is also learning. And it is not just keeping the child alone to sit glued with books. There must also be time for that child to play. It is not just about sitting glued to books alone. There must be time. There must be a schedule. Let there be like a timetable of how activities should. In the morning, wake that child up, get the child ready as if the child is normally going to school, and let the child be engaged in activity. It may not be more than 2, 3, 4 hours, but let that child be adequately engaged, that even such material, such work that such a child is able to engage himself with, can even be given to somebody around to mark, if you can assess the teacher. So all of these things are much more are things that parents can begin to do and ensure that their children are not left out of learning. You must keep learning on. You must engage in free play time. We must also allow the children for fresh air. We must allow them to play games, engage them in games. Also engage them in chores. Let them be engaged in chores. Let them connect with even with the smartphone. Like I said earlier, text messages can be sent, and then they may also have an opportunity, maybe in the environment where they are, in the same compound, even if it's a face me and face you, there may be 1 or 2 persons that have a TV that you can, even as a parent, at that within that space of time, you can also make yourself available for that time of learning and let the child also learn. But I say, don't leave your child with strangers. Don't leave your child with strangers because of abuse. Don't overtrust anybody to assume that this person is kind enough to take care of a child, than the way you can. So please, parents, I want you to take care of your children and ensure that they can learn even at a time like this. Ensure that you engage them in the things that would have so much lasting advantage. Let them learn to make hair. Let them learn to make dresses, to fix buttons. Let them learn to fix shoes. Let them learn to cut hair. These are other skills that that will also be useful later in life. I am sure that by the time this lockdown, this coronavirus eventually leaves the shores of our land, we will have a lot of stories to tell, and our children will be better for it. A lot of children have gained skill during this time. My daughter made hair herself. She cut the hair and made it. And a lot of other children were also able to do a lot of things. Some were able to bake. They were able to bake. They made puff. So there's small things that you can do. And I'm sure that this will pay off. Thank you for the opportunity.